All right, folks, welcome to the preview show. A lot of excitement in week 0, but really we saw many games get out of hand before the first half was even over. A couple games ended closely, but we'll start off with probably the worst news that can come from the first week of football, and that's injuries. And we do have a few of them to report. Starting with Cody Campbell of Summit High School. Cody is out for the season. He will have surgery on his ankle. He broke his ankle, tore ligaments in his ankle, and unfortunately in his senior year will be cut very short. And our thoughts are with Cody and his family. Jordan James from Brentwood Academy, they had a couple of injuries on Friday night in their game versus MUS. Jordan James, a lineman, he'll be out for a month. And then one of the most crushing probably is Dawson Knox, who had an incredible preseason. And Dawson also looked good in his 3 quarters of play against MUS. He had surgery yesterday. He will be out maybe for the whole season. They're hopeful that he'll be back before the season comes to an end. But for right now, Thomas Swafford will play the role of Johnny Moxon as he will come in and try to lead Brentwood Academy to a nice state title run. This team is loaded with talent still, and it does hurt losing a player like Dawson Knox, but we'll see what they got a couple players that are going to back him up. All right, so to some lighter news, now that we got the really bad stuff out of the way, we'll go to this is all of our predictions, everyone at the Williams Source giving their input on who they think is going to win this week. And we'll start off Spring Hill at Mount Pleasant. Spring Hill won last week 32-0. Coach Turchetta seems to have his team, his program already going in the right direction after bouncing back from last season's loss to Summit, which was I believe a 17-14 final score. His Raiders won 32-0, and they might have some weapons this year. So that's our pick, the Raiders, to go 2-0. Clarksville Northeast at Franklin. Franklin's first game of the season as they had week 0 off. The Rebels were 8-2 last year. We know they have a solid receiving core. We know they have Bryce Millam, who the Rebels are expecting to have a really good year. And then, of course, the return of Joe Critchlow at quarterback means we have to go with the Franklin Rebels to win that game. Clarksville Northeast was solid the last 2 years, but in more recent history, they were beaten last week 42-7 by Franklin's own rivals, Centennial. All right, Blackman and Brentwood. Brentwood struggled in the second half versus CPA. Blackman looked good in their win on ESPN2 as they beat Oakland, and it's kind of it's a unanimous Blackman pick, but it would be a solid win for Brentwood if they could somehow pull this out. And what it would mean to these players and what it would mean to their confidence heading into the rest of the season if they could pull off the upset win. That's a really tough schedule for Brentwood, playing CPA, a team that went to the state championship, and playing them in week 0, and then week 1 having to play Blackman, a team that won the state championship in their region, or excuse me, in their division. Ravenwood, Clarksville. Clarksville looked very good against Good Pasture. They won that game 42-17. I think a lot of people understand how good Ravenwood's going to be, but this is going to be a much closer game than one would expect. While we're talking about Ravenwood, Bulldog fans have some more vested interest in Raptor football because of this.
But after 4 years, I was in my comfortable life.
All right, and Centennial at Overton. We're here at Father Ryan. Overton's right down the road, and we might be at that game as well. Dylan Phillips was the Prep Weekly. Check out prepweekly.com, run by 104.5, his own people over there, and they do a great job also covering all of Middle Tennessee. Dylan Phillips was their Williamson County Prep Weekly, Player of the Week. He had 5 sacks and 9 total tackles in Centennial's route last week. And of course, Emmanuel Hall looked good. We saw him score a touchdown. But we know Overton will be a challenge. They led Father Ryan until the final 30 seconds of the game, and we'll talk to you more about how that game ended. Just incredible. Some miscues maybe by Overton cost them from starting the season 1-0, and they'll look to bounce back against Centennial, who, I'm telling you what, guys, that team looked good. And people are saying that after the last season, them not making the playoffs, not really sure how good they're going to be this year. They've had plenty of talent on the offensive end, and as you saw from Dylan Phillips' performance, plenty of weapons on the defensive end. CPA Hillwood, and this one was unanimous. Of course, we know CPA with guys like J.R. Osborne. He was the guy, and we'll talk more about J.R. in just a minute, but he had a phenomenal day against Brentwood, and then, of course, Hockaday had a great day. This was pretty easy. It was unanimous across the board for the Williams Source predictors, who, by the way, I didn't mention this, were 9 out of 11 in our first week. even though I was only 7 out of 11. But we put our heads together, we do pretty well. CPA, we got them winning easily. And this one, Page versus Summit. The Patriots shouldn't have a problem. Summit really struggled against Centennial in week 0, falling 32-0. And Page looked impressive in their come-from-behind win. I mean, it was technically a come-from-behind win. They trailed 7-3, but immediately were able to respond with a touchdown, take the lead, and hold on to beat a pretty solid Lipscomb Academy team. So the Patriots looking to go 2-0, and we believe they will. Innsworth at Brainerd. If I'm saying that correctly. Innsworth at Brainerd. Innsworth, of course, taking on Trinity last week, won that game 21-14, and this is just another team full of talent. Two guys, Donovan Sheffield, Rico McGraw. Of course, you're going to hear those names all season. You're going to hear them on Saturdays and throughout the next few years. Talented players, and of course, Innsworth's front line, huge. Those guys are big bruisers up front, and so this one was pretty simple. It's a no-brainer. No, nobody? Okay. Innsworth. That was terrible. Innsworth wins it. Brentwood Academy at LTM. There's a lot of question marks in this game. First of all, not knowing a whole lot about what LTM's going to bring to the table, and still a lot of questions about Brentwood Academy. What's the quarterback situation going to look like? What's the line going to look like without James in? And we know that they have good running backs. They have good wide receivers. We know that they have a strong front line on defense, some big guys up front, but still a lot of question marks in this game. And even with all those question marks, still unanimous. Everybody picking Brentwood Academy to beat LTM at LTM. Good pasture at FRA. Like we said, FRA showed a lot of fight in their loss last week. They got the game all the way down to within a touchdown, and then it kind of went downhill from there. 49-28 was the final, but they were right there with a chance to tie and possibly win the game. I got FRA winning. We as a collective group have good passion. That's the only one. Our game of the week. Father Ryan, BGA, right here on this field. It should be another wild one for the Fighting Irish and the Wildcats of BGA. It should be an exciting one. We talked to both coaches and hear their thoughts about the matchup. The Wildcats left no doubt on Friday in their round of Coffee County. Brock Batten praised his team for the solid performance in their opening game, but also saw some things that he feels need to be corrected this week.
We had a really good first half. I thought our offense had a lot of good things going. We moved the ball really well. Clay Bather, who had his first start, threw the ball really well. We just had a lot of things going well. A couple breakdowns in special teams that I feel like we got to correct, and of course the penalties.
Yes, there was plenty of yellow on the field Friday in the blowout win. And Father Ryan had a much different experience in Week 0, winning on a pass from their quarterback Towns with 29.3 seconds left after Overton inexplicably faked a punt on 4th and 2 late in the game. A play call that had the Overton head coach shouting from the sideline, "Who called that?"
Second half was tough, and obviously it came down to a little bit of luck at the end. They attempted their fake punt, and then we were able to stop them on that drive, and then we were able to punch it in there and run the clock out. So that worked out very well at the end for us.
Now these two schools turn their attention to this Friday, a game Coach Batten says will be very physical.
It's going to be a physical football game. What they like to do offensively is run at you and run downhill and be physical. But they have a quarterback who's a big kid but can throw the ball and move around with his feet. And they have about three running backs or skill guys that I think any 3 or 4 of them can take it the distance. So on defense, we got to play pretty stout. We got to stop them on first down and try to create some situations for us.
The BGA had a phenomenal game, obviously put up a lot of points. Clayton Bethard had a great game. They got a good running back, and Ronald Cleveland and then Marcus Cawthorn at wide receiver. So they got some star players. How are you guys preparing for them?
Well, like for any other team, I thought that the team we played last week had a lot of star players on it as well. I know BGA's got several that we're going to have to make sure we control and contain. Bethard's an awful good quarterback. I think he's a great competitor, and that makes it even tougher on a defense, whether it's ours or anybody else's. He can pull the ball down and run with it. He runs effectively. He's got a good, strong arm. He seems to throw it out there. Cawthorn gives him a big target at the wide-out position. Cleveland's smaller in stature, but he's got some wheels on him, and he can jitterbug around a little bit once he gets the ball in his hands. I think they're very, very capable on offense. Defensively, I'm impressed with the way they run around. Not very big up front. They've had some bigger lines over the past several years, but I think they're very active up front. And I know it wasn't an easy ball game for us last year over their place. I don't anticipate an easy ball game over here for us this year.
Now the question for BGA is, how do guys like Clay Beathard respond in a hostile environment in his very first high school road game as a quarterback?
We got to stay upbeat. We got to think about the next play, and that's our mindset going in, because we know this is football. Some bad things will happen. They're gonna make some plays. They have a good staff. They have good players. But can we forget that play and flush that play and respond the next play and move on? And so that's constantly what we talk about as a staff, constantly what we talk about as a team, and that's what I'm expecting from our ball club.
For Father Ryan, Coach Lucier is looking for another big game from his starting quarterback, Cameron Towns.
For our offense to be effectively, Cameron's going to have to do what he's done for us all fall camp long, and that's limit the turnovers, give our receivers a chance to catch the ball. Our perimeter people have to do a good job blocking when we get the ball out on the edge out there, and then we'll see where it takes us.
So here's where we'll be Friday for our game of the week, Father Ryan BGA. And so our pick, which was a close one, down to one vote, decided by one vote. And it was Battleground Academy to beat Father Ryan here on their own turf. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition on Friday night. It should be a good game. Plenty of talent on both sides, as you just heard from both coaches say. This should be a very good game here at Father Ryan.
Giving you more picks as they come in. Fairview at Camden Central. And it looks like the staff here at the Williams Source say Fairview will improve to 2-0 once again this season. Independence, their game versus Marshall County. We got Independence also starting 2-0. Another team in Williamson County will be off to a great start if we are correct. And the Eagles defeat Marshall County.
And that's the lineup for this week. So be sure to look for those highlights. And we come back, we will have our Jack in the Box Athletes of the Week. So stay tuned. You're going to see who these players are, male and female. And they did some pretty amazing things last week. Stay tuned. For the preview show, our Athletes of the Week. This is a new thing we're doing this year on the Williamson Source, and it's our Jack in the Box Athletes of the Week. And these guys, very deserving of this award. J.R. Osborne is the male winner. 53-yard field goal, a school record. Now, school records, it's usually a no-brainer at that point. Then you're going to get there's going to be some type of accolades to go with that. But not only does he kick 53-yard field goals, he also gets touchdown receptions. You want this guy, basically, you want him on your fantasy team. He's our male athlete of the week, and now for our female athlete of the week, this young lady is a freshman who just moved to Williams County from Texas, and in her very first high school game, her very first actual game as an athlete in Tennessee, she scores 2 goals, including the go-ahead goal in the second half. It was a phenomenal game out of Megan Henry from Page High School, as she helped her squad beat Fairview 4-3. If you visit our site frequently, you'll know, or you've at least seen the highlights or read the article about what she was able to do and her team was able to do against Fairview last week. They also won their most recent game against Wayne County. Somebody who's only a freshman. Page has themselves a superstar on their hands. Coach Clapp does at Page High School. Now, when we come back, we got one final segment. Excuse me. No, there's more seconds. Beyond the game, and then our top 5 plays from last week. Stay tuned. All right, Donna Visman, of course, was at Innsworth High School talking to several people, and at our Fans of the Week, you can see that on the site as well, but also more stuff from Beyond the Game with Donna Visman.
I'm Donna Visman with Williamson Source at this steamy, hot game tonight, and Innsworth just won. But you know what helped win them win are these two guys right here. Because tell me your name.
Cole Allen.
And?
Dax Bramer.
And tell everybody what you guys do tonight at the game.
We're the ball boys, and get the ball in every play. Make sure it's not wet. Yep.
What's it like being here on the field, handing the ball off?
Pretty cool. It's a good atmosphere. It's cool watching all the players and coaches and just watch them do their thing. It's pretty intense out there. Yeah.
And actually, you guys are football players yourself, correct? So tell everybody what position you play.
I'm the running back and a quarterback.
And so you guys have a game tomorrow. So do you learn anything from the game tonight that you take to your game tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am. Run hard, never stop. Go until you hear the whistle, and have fun.
I like that one. Have fun, because what else is there, right?
Right.
So how long have you guys been at Ensworth?
I've been here since pre-K, so 7 years.
7 years.
I came in 4th grade.
You came in 4th grade, and you have a special reason to come here, right?
Right.
Tell us about that.
My dad's the headmaster at the school, so he got a job and we moved here.
And so this is where you had to go to school, right? It's turned out okay then, right?
I like it. Love it here.
So what can you tell us about the school? For people who don't know, can you tell us something really interesting about Ensworth?
Great environment. Everyone loves to be around each other there. Everyone knows each other. Everyone's friends with each other. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
All right. Well, you guys were doing an awesome job tonight. We just want to make sure everybody knew that. And what's the cheer for Ensworth? Can you tell us real quick?
Go Tigers. Yeah, I agree.
Go Tigers.
Now, this will actually appear weekly on our Monday morning highlight show, but for this week, here it is on our preview show. It's our top 5 plays from last week across Williamson County.
All right, our 5th best play of the week is Fairview's Sir Byer. A long, direct free kick, top shelf, just underneath the crossbar. That's deserving of a top 5 play. Wouldn't be our only highlight, wouldn't be our only top play from this game, as you will see a little bit later. Now number 4. Settles, drops the ball, picks it up and throws it to his wide receiver Owen, and for the touchdown. That gave Ensworth the lead. Dropped the ball and able to pick it up and still throw a touchdown pass. It's number 4. All right, number 3. You might remember Clint Dempsey from the World Cup against Portugal able to knock one off his stomach and into the back of the net, and that's what Gigi Maddox does here. The freshman ended up being the game-winning goal. Number 2, Tylen Oden from Spring Hill. Finding a gap, stiff arm, breaks a tackle, touchdown. Really nice run from the quarterback. Now our top play, or our top plays, shall I say, from the week was the field goal kicking. This is a 50-yard field goal from Centennial, and then you've already seen it a few times. This week, you're going to see it one more time. J.R. Osborne, the school record, 53-yarder. We got another angle of this, reverse angle, other side of the field. And this shows you just how far away it is. And 53 yards. That's too impressive. This guy might make a living one day kicking the football.
Now, if you have plays that you think are worthy of our top 5 plays of the week, submit them at steve.peak@williamssource.com or sports@williamssource.com. And if you have any student athletes that you know of that should be nominated for our Jack in the Box Athletes of the Week, submit them to steve.peak@williamssource.com or sports@williamssource.com, or tweet at us at WilliamsonSRC, or tweet it at me at SteveWSSports on Twitter, and find us on Facebook as well. And that'll do it for our preview show presented by Columbia State University. Be sure to check out Friday night, 104.5 with Chad Withrow. He'll have Friday night finals. We'll be on there to preview some of the games. We'll be at, like, right here, this beautiful campus here at Father Ryan for the game of the week between Father Ryan and BGA. It should be a thriller. We'll be here. We'll be plenty of other places as well. Most of the home games, and you can check out all the highlights from them on our Friday night wrap-up show that should start somewhere at around 11 o'clock, depending on when games end. And we'll be sure to put that out on social so everybody is aware of the start time. And we'll see you then, folks. Stay tuned.